Hello and welcome to this little coffee break. You see, I'm having a coffee and I guess you too are having a coffee. So we are here to discuss and to slow down. And in today's coffee break, I would like to share with you probably something, an experience you had before as a software engineer is in your company, in your team, or from your past experience, you probably have met the kind of person who is irreplaceable. The person you or the team or the company even needs when everything is like not working, the server is on fire, there's a problem, everything is down, and you know, oh yes, that coworker will be able to fix the issue. Because we all have met one of our coworker, usually it's the only one, who knows everything and who knows how to debug super quickly and to know where the problem is coming from. Well, usually they don't know everything. It's just the way they think. It's super logical. And to be that kind of person, first, you have to be super curious. You need to research all the time to research why this does that, why we have to do this way. That's being curious, but in a proactive way. And when something bad happens, they already know a little bit what might not go well, what might have gone wrong, because they have an understanding of the big picture. They know as well how to break down a big problem into tiny pieces. If something goes bad, you have to think, okay, what happened? And then to look at all of the events that have happened recently, all of the releases, what we have shipped the last hour, what did we do? And then you would look at the traffic. You would look like first, what would be the most important to check? Okay, first a release, the pipeline. Can we roll back what we just released? If the problem is not fixed, let's have a look on the server, on AWS, for instance. Let's have a look to X-Ray. Let's have a look to CloudWatch. And let's see what could be the problem from there. But to break it down, the big problem, like everything's down, but this one thing that has caused the problem. And why it happens now, what's the traffic? Do we have a peak? Or maybe could be the database. So you would have to break down all into small pieces. Second, by checking and by asking questions, so communication is key. Have you seen that problem before? What have we done before? And also taking as a habit to document everything helps a lot. Then look at how you can reproduce the problem. If you can reproduce it on your local machine, usually you would know what's the problem because, okay, I can reproduce it, even though you don't know the problem, but you can easily debug on your local machine. Okay, that doesn't work out. I will check maybe the previous commit, then the commit before that, then the commit before that, until the problem doesn't occur anymore. Then you have to see the problem happens, to think, okay, now we have fixed it. Imagine you have fixed the problem because you could find that it was part of a migration, a database migration. You roll back that database migration again. Database, you have to be super careful because a database, you cannot roll back to the database, but you can re-update the data, for instance. But the database is a tricky part in production. Every time you fix a problem, document. Like you would have a document, usually you can that on Confluence, incident of today. What happened, and you mention the cause, then the resolution, what you have done to resolve the problem, and always think, how I could have been better. Why we took 30 minutes. Could we have maybe other ways or a different approach that could have made the 30 minutes into 10 minutes? How we can speed up the debugging time next time to something shorter. And all of the possibilities you could have done to make the incident less painful. Always being proactive and having a auto feedback. I call that a retrospective of the incident that happened on production. It's super, super useful for you, but also for your teammates. And when you know you are like the software engineer everybody needs because you can debug super quickly since you think about big picture and then you break down into smaller pieces, you also want your teammates to be able to do the same as you. Like how I can clone myself, because when I'm on holidays, I don't want people to call me. When I'm on call, I want the people who are working already on site during office hours to be able to do what I do. Well, you have to document everything, but also when something bad happens, you should ask someone else. You have to involve another engineer to debug with you. That way, not only you will do the job, but you will also show to another engineer how you debug. So to mentor someone when you debug. So you are looking at a problem, okay, we have to be very fast, but don't hesitate to involve another engineer because it will help in the long term the company. And always another engineer with you. Like sharing is key here. So if you don't share, you are kind of selfish, but also when you leave the company or when you are on holidays, well, don't expect people to be able to do what you do. And that's a problem. Maybe you want that, but usually we are a team, and so we have to help each other. That's super important. And when we write down all of our learning keys, now what I do, for instance, is to create a summary with AI and to share that on Slack, on MS Teams, to share with the team the reason why something went bad. That's the reason why we had this incident. And what can we have in place to ensure that we don't have the incident again? Like always see how we can prevent the problem that happened. Don't let another chance to the problem to happen again. If that problem happened once, it will happen a second time if we don't do anything. So by being proactive, it's also by fixing the problem, yes, but also by making sure the problem will not happen, will not occur again. And lastly, what I found very, very interesting is to always, so document is good, to make sure that the platform is stable is good as well, but to invite the entire team in a meeting and to ask them what you would have done during that scenario by asking questions, by having like a workshop all together. It will help the team to grow better. Because if a junior developer, for instance, stay junior for a long time, usually it's not their fault. Okay, they could learn by themselves, but also it's because they are not being mentored well enough. And I've seen that so often where senior engineers don't help enough junior engineers. Okay, sometimes it's because they don't have enough time, and it's okay, but it shouldn't happen all the time. Like it's fine that at some period of the year we are so busy, but as soon as you have time, it's important to help the junior engineer to be better and to understand and for them to learn as well what they could do better. Because if they don't know, it's hard for them to improve. At the end of the day, being a team is to help the whole team to grow, the whole company to grow. So the more you practice, the more you have problems, incidents, the better you will be. Because usually being a super good debugger, it's a skill that you have to practice again and again and again. It's really about the mindset, about the way you think and the way you break down the big problem into tiny, small, gradually smaller problems, and you go from the client request until the low level, like backend, database, and what could have caused the problem. But also, the more you think that way, the more problems you have on the server, the quicker and the better you will identify the root cause. And the more knowledge you have on the application, on the code base, the better you will get to. So being curious, when you are curious and when you are willing to learn things normally you wouldn't learn, when something bad will happen, you know some key elements that might help you to fix the problem sooner, quicker, faster. It's a long journey, but the more you do, the more you help your team to debug a really bad problem, and the more you will get involved in the process, the better you will get. So don't hesitate to jump into a problem. Like now, you are still maybe a junior engineer, just jump with a more senior engineer and look how they are thinking and identify some patterns. That's the end of my coffee. Happy day, happy debugging day, and I wish you a beautiful journey.